So if you're in the process of discovering how to produce, mix, and master licensable tracks for the TV film licensing business, there are a lot of moving parts and probably a lot of new knowledge and new skills, probably new plugins and sounds that you're getting familiar with, and it can probably feel overwhelming. And I bet there's a sense of wanting to make sure that you're getting all the technical aspects right? The loudness is correct, the samples sound modern or live if you're going for a live sound, the track has the right structure, the transitions are there, you have good dynamics, everything, right? A mix is full and full stereo spread, right? You want to make sure your low end is nice and tight and not muddy. It's punching through. Your drums are really hitting hard and kind of punching and cracking through the mix and not getting lost. So there's a lot of these small, I mean, they're all important, but there's a lot of them. There's just a lot of these different moving parts that you're probably trying to get your hand on. And what I want to remind you for today's video is the most important aspect and the most important quality of your music that I don't want you to ever lose sight of or forget about, because this is one of those things that easily happens, especially to us technophiles, us audiophiles who obsess over the quality of a sound and how a mix is coming out and how to EQ everything and how to compress every single track. So we are sort of the chefs, right, that go to other restaurants and we pick out, we're very nitpicky about the little tiny things that we could see, like, well, that could be better and that could be better. The general public usually doesn't pay attention to that, okay? And so I want you guys to always remember that getting lost in the weeds of the technical side of producing music can sometimes harm you and basically pull you away from the most important part of your music, which is the emotion of it, okay? Music, if it doesn't make somebody feel something, and that can be any emotion you can describe or imagine, if your tracks aren't making somebody feel the emotion you want them to feel, they will always fall flat. Even if your mix is perfect, even if you've got the best samples and you're using the best plugins and you really know how to use your stuff well, if the music itself that you're putting into your computer, into your DAW, is not oozing an emotion and a very clear emotion, right? Not like a nebulous sort of mix of 18 different emotions, but like tension or aggression, party, celebration, optimism, depression, heartbreak, sadness, right? A very clear emotion coming out of your track. If you're not delivering that, I don't care how great or technical or professional your setup is, your ears are, anything. And I don't care how long you've been doing this. Your music has to have emotion, okay? And I think a lot of us producers and people who mix music and all that kind of stuff, we sort of get lost in the weeds of all this. And all this stuff is really important to us, whether or not the frequency range is working for this particular instrument, whether or not this snare drum has the right compression settings, right? We get lost in these sort of smaller issues. But you always have to, at the end of the day, and I think especially when you're in the process of producing your track, maybe once an hour, pull away from your keyboard and your mouse and maybe even turn off your screen, click play on your track and close your eyes and just listen to the music that you're creating. Literally just feel it, okay? Try to get out of critic mode, out of producer mode, out of mixer mode, all the different hats that we wear when we are basically the one-stop shop, and that's what we usually are in this business. But you have to make sure that you're not getting so lost in these little details, these little technical details. Is this one thing quantized right? Is this thing compressed right? Is this EQ exactly what it needs to be? Rather than worrying so much about all these tiny little things, it's really important that once in a while, probably like I said, once an hour, you zoom out of all of that and just really feel your music. Literally just try to even get away from listening to it if you can. It's really kind of a weird Zen thing to get into, but just feel what your music is making you feel, okay? If you're feeling the strong emotion that you intended to put through your tracks, I don't care how you're doing it right, okay? Some people think that, over quantizing your music makes it sound too robotic, or you should be only recording live instruments. That's the only way to get that real awesome feel that people can connect to. I don't buy any of that, because some of my favorite music is completely overproduced, all right? Some of the producers and bands that I love, everything's quantized, everything's to the grid, there's auto-tune on it, there's fake guitars. Do I care about that? No, I am a producer and a musician, and I don't care about that. What do I care about? Do I feel something? Can you make me feel something? Can you get me inspired? Can you make me go through the heartache that you went through with this track? Can you make me feel like I'm going to take over the world with a powerful orchestral, triumphant track? I care about the emotion, and that's what everybody cares about. Consumers of music, and especially music libraries, okay? And those are primarily who you're going to be having to deliver your tracks to succeed. So always remember that in all of the technical training and stuff that you're learning is never lose sight of the fact that your tracks are basically worthless, especially in this business. And I actually think in all aspects of the music business, if your tracks aren't pushing and moving somebody emotionally, you're wasting your time, you're wasting their time. It's just going to be falling flat on the ears of the people that you're trying to impress, maybe get a contract with, right, in the licensing business. I would say, I know that there are sort of maybe some of you that are, in your 40s and 50s or even older that came from a different era where producing music like the way that we produce it now is maybe sort of sacrilegious to a lot of people, and they feel like, well, that's not really producing music, that's just copying and pasting, that's just overproducing or using too many computer programs and algorithms essentially to kind of squash the life out of the music. Okay, if you feel that way, I'm not going to try to talk you out of that. I'm just telling you how the world works, and the world does not care about how music is created. Nobody cares if a band recorded it live or if it was completely produced by you with a keyboard and everything was fake or from a sampled library. What really matters is, did they feel something? Did your track bring out an emotion in them and make them feel what you intended to make them feel? Sometimes they'll feel something different, but at least you had some sort of a clear emotional drive with the track that you were putting together. So I think that's what music is. It's just a vehicle, a tiny little vehicle to convey an emotion, to communicate some sort of a feeling or an emotion to somebody else. And that's, if you think about it, all we're really doing in the sync licensing business, right? Our music is only meant to really do one thing: pull out an emotion of a scene or a commercial or a trailer or a movie, whatever it's being placed in. But if it's placed in the background, it's going to be enhancing the emotion, whatever the director or editor, sometimes even producer of that particular show, wants to elicit from their audience. Your track is there to add to that emotion, to really soak in that emotion, to really pull out more of that emotion of the scene. And that's it. Super simple, not easy to do. I'm not going to say it's very easy to do, but it's very simple to understand. This is how you're going to get better placements, more useful placements, having that clear emotion and make sure it's a very strong emotion. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. I have useful videos like this every single week. Leave a like if you found this useful, and share this with a producer friend that you know that might get use out of this kind of information. Thank you so much for watching.